Hey guys! So we have been working on Module 3, diving into multiplying and dividing, and we started out by using some pictures. We've been drawing out these bar models like on the screen here so that we can show our thinking when we're multiplying and dividing, and then we can see it happen. It's just a strategy to help us, and we're going to use it some more today until we get more comfortable with it. Follow along with me, please. We're on page number 69 in your workbook, and we're on the very first problem under Step It Out. It says in this problem, airboats are a popular way to tour areas with shallow water. A small airboat can fit 6 people. So already they told me how many people can fit in a small airboat. They told me 6. Then the story goes on to say, a large airboat can fit 4 times as many people. So what I stop and notice is, they also told me about a large airboat, but it didn't tell me how many people it can fit. It did tell me that they can fit 4 times as many people as a small airboat. So I know that the large airboat can fit more. It can fit 4 times more. And then it goes on to ask another question and another step. And it says, how many more people can fit in a large airboat than in a small airboat? This is a multi-step problem. I'm going to do it one step at a time. I'm not going to talk about this part yet until I figure this out up here. So if you remember, I want to start with what I know, and I can draw a picture of what I know. And I know that the small airboat, so we can label this picture for the small airboat, and I can show how much it can hold, and I can see that up here it says a small airboat can fit 6 people. I know that. So this is just a model to show what I know. What I need to find out is how many can fit in a large airboat. And I know that more people can fit into a large airboat, but I don't know how many more. That's what we're trying to find out. And they labeled it as an N for the unknown, kind of like putting a question mark, right? Well, then it said again that they can fit 4 times as many people as a small boat. So they already do for us 4 times as many as a small boat. Here's 1 time. Here's 2 times as many. Here's 3 times as many. And here's 4 times as many. So here's what they're saying. They're saying that we're trying to find out 4 times as many as 6. So I can show 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times as many as 6 by showing a 4 times as big picture. That's basically what we're doing. And over here, for the sentence, or the equation, I would put in blank times blank equals the unknown. 4 times of 6 will tell us the unknown, or how many were in the large boat. So we're going to try and find out what is 4 times 6. And now we have this here that we can look at to help us. I can use repeated addition. I could count on my fingers if I don't know the multiplication fact for 4 times 6. So I'm going to use repeated addition. So 6 plus 6 is 12, plus another 6 is 18, plus another 6 is 24. And if you didn't know, you could keep on counting up by another 6 on your fingers, and that's okay. So 4 times 6 is 24. So that means that 24 people can fit into the large airboat. So we now know how many actually fit in the large airboat. That was just one part of the problem. We still have another step to solve. Let's go back to the second part of the story. It says, how many more people can fit in a large airboat than in a small airboat? Well, we couldn't answer that before because we didn't know how many people could fit in a large boat, but now we do. Now we know that 24 people can fit into a large boat. And we already knew because they told us up here that a small airboat can fit 6 people, so 6 people can fit into a small boat. And now the second part asks us, well, how many more people are in this large boat than in the small boat? We want to know the difference. How much bigger or how many more people is 24 than 6? If I want to know how much bigger this number is than this one, if you remember, we're going to subtract. We're going to take the 6 away from 24 to see the difference. So down here, if we're talking about drawing a picture, we can go back to the small boat, holding 6. And then if we compare that to the big picture, we now know that the large boat, because we found that out up here, that this total was 24, right? So the large boat can hold 24. And I want to know the difference. I want to know this new variable now. They labeled it M. It could just be a question mark, but they gave it a different letter because we're talking about a different step in the problem now. We want to know 6 plus what makes 24? Or 24 minus 6 will equal this. So we're saying 6 plus what? This is the what part, right? If I can put 6 and this other missing part together, this missing part like right here, the total will be 24. What I'm really doing is I'm taking 6 away from 24 to find the missing part, to find what M really is. What is M? And remember, M is just representing this part of the bar, the difference between the two. So I can do 24 minus 6, and I'm going to put it over here. I like to draw it out. And I see I cannot do 4 minus 6, so I'm going to borrow a 10. And that leaves me with 110. Now I can bring my 10 over, and now I have 14. And I can do 14 minus 6. What is 14 minus 6? It's 8. And then I go to the 10th place, 1, take away nothing, will still be 1. So I know that the difference is 18. And now you can see why they said 6 plus what equals 24. 6 plus 18 will make this big bar, or 24. So M is really 18. So M is 18. And that means that the large boat can hold 18 more people than the small boat can, because it's that much bigger. Okay, so let's look at the problem on the next page, which is page 70, number 2, under Step It Out. It says a park has reptile shows every weekend. There were 27 people at the show on Saturday. That is 3 times as many people as on Sunday. So how many people saw the show that weekend? Well, before we can find out how many people saw the show altogether that weekend, we need to find out about Sunday, because they told us about Saturday. They said there were 27 people there on Saturday. Then on Sunday, they said that this number, 27, is 3 times as many as on Sunday. but I don't know how many on Sunday, but I know there was a lot more on Saturday. There was 3 times as many people on Saturday. There was less people on Sunday. So I need to split this up into 3 groups. So what we're saying here is 3 times of what will equal 27. And then that will tell us how many people went to the show on Sunday. Or if you think about your fact family, the opposite of this would be 27 divided by 3 will tell us our answer for the people for Sunday. So I want you somewhere in the space here to do the picture with me. I'm going to do mine right down here. I have a little bit of space. So I'm going to talk about what I know at first, and I know about Saturday. And I know Saturday is the bigger number, so I could even draw that out ahead of time as a bigger number. What I don't know about is Sunday. But what I do know about Sunday is that this is 3 times as much. So we're going to make 3 groups, because we're going to divide 27 by 3. Remember this? And if I don't know what 27 divided by 3 is, if you think about it, if you had 27 in your hand, 27 or of anything, could be M&M's, could be marbles, whatever it may be. If you were to take them and split them into 3 groups, you would want to split them up equally. So you would, if you actually had them in your hand, you'd put one at a time into the 3 groups. And then you go back and you put another one at a time into the 3 groups until you finally ran out of whatever you have in your hand, like M&M's, if you wanted to be fair and equal. Well, that's what we're doing when we draw this picture and we divide by 3. We're taking our 27 one at a time until we've used them all. So I'm just going to use dots like an array to keep it nice and neat. I'm going to count until I use all 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I want to use all 27 dots equally, splitting them up into my 3 groups. Now I will know how many people went on Sunday, because remember, 3 times as many people went on Saturday. So I just divided it up by 3, and I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in my group to show how many went on Sunday. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. Or 3 times 9 makes 27. So the letter S was just like putting a question mark. Like, I don't know what that number is yet. And we found out that S was 9. So that means that 9 people saw the show on Sunday. Ooh, that was only one step of the problem. Then it went on to say, well, how many people saw the show that weekend? They want to know how many people saw it all together. So remember, we already knew that 27 people saw it on Saturday. Now we know that 9 people saw it on Sunday. And 27 for Saturday. And if we want to know how many people went all together that weekend, we need to put it all together by adding. So we are going to do 27 plus 9. I'm going to find some space to work again. I'm going to write 27 plus 9 over here. And if you have trouble with adding by 9, I showed my class my trick, and I hope it helps you. I think of 9 as being 1 away from 10. So if I could borrow 1 from 7, that would leave me with 6 here. So 10 plus 6 would be 16. And I can use that anytime. So for example, if I had 5 plus 9, in order to make this a 10, I'd have to borrow 1, so that would make that 4. So this would be 14. If I had 6 plus 9, I'd have to borrow 1 from 6 to make this 10, so this would equal 15. Or if I had 3 plus 9, I'd have to borrow 1 from 3 to make this 10, so I'd have 12. So if I have 7 plus 9, I have to borrow 1 from 7 to make this 10, and I have 16. But remember, I'm not going to write 16 here. I'm going to carry over and regroup the 10 and just put the 6 in the ones place. Now we can add the tens place, and we have 1 plus 2 is 3. So that means that there were 36 people total who went between Saturday and Sunday to that show that weekend. So the missing number here, instead of a question mark, they put W, right, is 36. So that means that W represented the number that was missing, which was 36 people who saw that show that weekend. Okay, so looking at the bottom of the page there, let's do another one like this, where it says check understanding number 1. It says Matt counts 5 birds and 8 times as many insects in a park. How many more insects than birds does Matt count? And the directions said that we're going to write equations to model and solve the problem. And it wants us to use letters for the unknowns instead of putting question marks. You can pick any letter you want. But remember, before I can figure out how many more insects there were than birds, I need to look here. We know that there were 5 birds, but I don't know how many insects there were. We need to find out how many insects there were. I do know that there were 8 times as many insects. That means there were more insects than birds. In fact, there were 8 times more. I'm going to start with what I know first. So let's draw a picture of this. I know about the birds, and the birds was a smaller amount, so I could draw a smaller box. It really doesn't matter here, but I can show what I know, that there were 5 birds. What does matter is when I try to figure out the insects, that I draw this, what it's asking for. It says 8 times as many as this. So I'm going to do 8 times as many as this. That's 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and 8 times as many. Now I can figure out how many insects there were. I can count by 5. Oh, you guys are good at that. Could you do that with me 8 times? Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 8 times of 5 is 40. So that now tells me how many insects there were. There were 40 insects. Now I know how many insects, and I know how many birds. I'm not done yet. That was just one step of the problem. What we just did was, we did 5 times 8 equals 40 to find out how many insects. But now it wants to know how many more insects, remember there's 40 insects we just figured out, are there than birds? Well, there were 5 birds. If I want to know how much more is this number than this one, I want to know how much bigger this is, I need to take 5 away from 40. So we're going to take 5 away from 40. So we're going to do 40. And we're going to take away 5 to find out how much bigger that number is. And we can use an unknown here for the missing number. It could be any letter you want. Instead of putting, a blank or whatever, I could say 40 minus 5 equals, and I'll put a U for unknown. Well, you know 40 minus 5 because you're really good with 5, and 40 minus 5 would be that she counted 35 more insects than she counted of birds. All right, I wanted to cover up that one we just did before we try the one next to it so that that work there wouldn't throw you off. So if you look at number 2, it says there are 7 times as many toys as maps in the gift shop. There are 35 toys. How many toys and maps are in the gift shop? So what I do know is how many toys there were. There were 35 toys, it told us. It says there are 7 times as many toys as there are maps. So I know that there's more toys than maps. There's 7 times as much toys as maps. So if I want to figure this out, I'm going to be dividing. And if I made a division sentence for this, I would say that 35 divided by 7 equals the unknown. Or if you think about the fact family, the same problem could be 7 times the unknown equals 35. So let's start with what we have. We have toys. And I can show toys. I'm going to make a big box for the toys because I know that the toys are more. There was 35 toys altogether. What I need to find out is how many maps. I need to find out just one part of this, right, for the maps. One part. And I'm going to be dividing it up into 7 parts because this is 7 times as much. If I want to find out this one part, I need to make 7 parts and split it up equally. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And don't worry if your boxes aren't the perfect size. It just matters if we divide it up equally. So I'm going to take 35. And remember, think about it. If you had 35 in your hand, 35 little itty bitty toys, and you wanted to split it up into 7 equal groups to give to your friends for like a party favor for your birthday, you would want to do one at a time in each of the 7 bags until you ran out of toys to make sure they all get exactly the same amount. Well, that's what we're doing. We're going to take 35 one at a time. I'm going to make cute little dot arrays to keep it nice and neat so that I can count it after. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. And then after I use all 35, well, then I can figure out that one part that I was trying to find, like how many maps there were. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 35 divided by 7, the unknown is 5, or 7 times 5 makes 35. And that tells us how many maps there were 5. But remember, that was just one step of the problem. We weren't able to figure out how many toys and maps were in the gift shop until we found out how many maps there were. So if we want to know how many toys and maps, we're going to put them together. And if we're going to put them together, we need to add. So I'm going to add my toys to my map. I'll do that right here. 35 plus 5. And you're really good with 5. I bet you could do that in your head. 5 plus 5 is 10. So I'm not going to write 10 here. I regroup my 10 and I just leave the 0 in the ones place. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So altogether there were 40 toys and maps in the shop. So I did not give you an independent assignment for today that you need to submit because I know this is really hard and I'm just glad that you followed along with me today. But what I would like to do is challenge you. I'd like to challenge you to look on the next page at page 71. So you won't have to submit this, but I want you to try it. Number 3 says on your own. Students in the 3rd and 4th grades plant trees in a park. The 3rd graders plant 7 trees. The 4th graders plant 3 times as many trees. So already I can see the 3rd graders, they plant 7 trees. And the 4th graders, I don't know how many they planted, but it's 3 times as many. So they planted more, right? Let me get you started on just this part. Let's just label 3rd graders like this. And they planted 7 trees. We're trying to find out about the 4th graders, right? What did they plant? They planted 3 times as much. I bet you can figure out how many the 4th graders planted now once you do 3 times as much as the 3rd graders. Then once you figure that out, you'll be able to do this next part. How many trees do students in the 2 grades plant? So after you know how many the 4th graders planted, once you can add that in, they want to know how many they planted all together. So you're going to add the 2 together once you find out the total for 3 times of 7. You're trying to find out the total of 3 times of 7 to find out how many for the 4th graders, right? So you're going to use repeated addition. Then once you, let me show you that my picture's in the way. Once you find out how many 4th graders there are, then you'll be able to take the 3rd graders, which are 7, plus the 4th graders to find out what the total is. Try it out, guys. See you later.